class. Today we'll be working on lesson 5 about dollars. We've been looking at change, we've been looking at how to use it, and now we're going to look in how we're going to add it into dollar bills and what that looks like. So we're going to dive right in with a few warm-up questions actually today. So if you have a blank piece of paper and you want to solve along with me, let's go ahead and do that. So my problem of the day is show 14 cents with a total of 5 coins. This is going to take some problem solving. I'm going to solve it out with my own thinking, but if you want to solve it first and check your answer, you can go ahead and pause the video and then turn it back on to check. So I'm going to use coins to help me problem solve. So I'm going to just make a pile in the corner because I don't know what I might use or what I want to use. I just want to be ready for anything. Well, let's see. I know 14 cents is smaller than 25, so we don't need quarters at all. I can get rid of those. And I want to use 5 coins. I don't have a coin that will give me 4 cents, and 5 is too big for that. So I might put that aside. And I might just count pennies. I'm going to put 4 pennies up and start with that, because now I have 4 cents. Let's see. Oh, I already have 4 coins. So I need one more that'll give me a total of 14. If I put 5, that's 9, not enough. But if I put 10, I'll get, I believe, 14. So let's double check our work here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cents. I've done it. A dime and 4 pennies. I hope you got it too. Let's move on to our next little warm-up problem here. So it's a word problem that Brian wants to buy 3 action figures. Before I get started any further, I'm going to get my pen ready to go, because as we learned last time, we want to underline important information. He wants to buy, he doesn't have them, he wants to buy 3 action figures. Each one is 25 cents. He has 2 quarters, 2 dimes, and 1 nickel. Does he have enough money? Remember, we're going to circle the question. This is one of those 2-parters. So I'm going to split my board in half, and I'm going to start with figuring out how much the action figures are. So I might write A, F for action figures. I'm going to draw 3 circles to represent them. This is math class, not art class, so it's okay to have just a simple representation. And I'm going to add on. If each of them are 25 cents, we'll count by 25s. 25, 50, 75. He needs 75 cents. All right, now let's check to see if he has enough. I'm going to switch colors here so it's not as confusing. He has 2 quarters. We're going to label on the inside so that way we can keep track. He has 2 dimes and 1 nickel. Now let's go in and add up by counting on. 25, 50, 60, 70, 75 cents. Oh my goodness, looks like Brian has just enough. Yes, he does have enough money. Now that our brains are all warmed up, we're going to jump right over to the Explore and Explain page of your math, which is page 1 of your math worksheet if you're working at home. $1 equals how many cents? Well, it tells us right here, 100 cents. Your mission now is to figure out with coins at home, if you have it. If not, maybe cut out some coins or find play money. But we want to see how much of each type of coin will bring you to 100 cents. So I'm going to start actually with quarters because those are easier for me to count here. So I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to count 25, 50, 75, 100. 100 cents equals $1. So I needed 4 quarters. Let's record that. So great mathematicians want to record their work. Let's go back in now. Let's go to dimes. Well, if we're counting by tens, I'm probably going to need 10 dimes. That's my prediction. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. See, I was counting by the value, so now we can count to see how many pennies total there are. I'm lining them up so we can see it clearly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 dimes equals 100 cents, also known as a dollar. Now we're going to need a lot of nickels and a lot of pennies, so I might not be modeling with the coins themselves. So what I want you to think, if we needed 10 dimes to make 100, you're going to need double that amount of nickels because a nickel is worth half the value. So let's move it over here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. That's a lot of nickels. I tried to keep them in rows of 5, so now I can just count by 5 to see the total number of nickels. So let's go ahead and do that. I have 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 nickels, which means my prediction was correct. We had double the amount of dimes, so it takes 20 nickels to make 100 cents, also known as a dollar. All right, now let's move on to the penny. The penny here, we don't have enough room to keep track of it. If a penny is 1 cent, then you need 1 cent for each of these. 1 coin for each cent. There we go. Once you have that, you'll get your total. So if it's 1 cent, you only need 100 pennies. Awesome. Now let's go to our next page now that we checked our work there. It's showing us the same answers. And now we have the see and show so you can follow along. $1 has the value of 100 cents, or 100 cents with a symbol, which is a C with a line in it. To write $1, use a dollar sign. A dollar sign, it's actually really fun to draw, and it goes in front of the number. Cents goes behind, dollar goes in front. So when I draw a dollar sign, I'm going to make an S, and I'm going to put a line through it. Go ahead and practice on your own paper to see what it looks like. There's another thing I notice here that I want to highlight for you guys. They have what's called, oh, I completely erased it. Between the dollar and the cents, they have what's called a decimal point. So I'm going to circle the decimal point. The decimal point shows you have part of a whole. You have a part of a dollar. You're not quite there yet. Every time you get to 100 cents, it moves over and becomes a new dollar. The decimal separates the dollar amount from the coin amount. So I'm going to put decimal. It's a sloppy one. This pen doesn't like my computer for dots, but it's your dollar amount and your coin amount. Keeps them separated. Let's go to our first 2 problems that I would love to solve here with you. So it says count to find the value of the coins. Circle the combination that equals $1. So I think some of these will equal $1 and some won't. So I want to take note that it tells me to circle the combinations that equal $1. Only those ones that equal $1. Let's count. 25, 50, 75. And we have a bunch of nickels. 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. 100 cents is the same as one, don't forget your decimal point, dollar. All right, now let's look at number 2. Number 2, we have a quarter, so 25, 35, 45, 55, 60, 65, 70, 71, 72. 72 cents. Now, when we're doing cents alone, we are going to put 72 cents, but we can always get in that habit of putting a decimal. I'm going to put a decimal before it. We don't have any dollars, so if you want to put $0 and 72 cents, that's totally okay, and it will get you in the practice of using that decimal. And now that we have those, let's move on and see what it says. Well, we got it correct. How are the dollar and cent different? How are they alike? That's a good question. That's a question I want you to think about and talk with at home. So if you have a partner, a sibling, a parent, someone there to chat with, I want you to make a list of how they are different and how they are alike. I can't wait to hear what you come up with. The rest of the math is very similar, where it wants us to circle the combinations that equal $1, which reminds me to go back and check my work, because I don't believe I followed that instruction very well. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to really make sure I circle number 1 because it equaled $1. I don't want to miss out on a point on my math because I didn't follow directions. Make sure to circle. All right, now let's go back. Circle the combinations that equal $1. It's a helpful hint that I will suggest you use. Use a dollar sign to write dollars. Use a cent sign to write cents. You have got this. I believe in you so much, and I can't wait to see what you do today. See you next time.